In examining Marx's conception of capital, one of the central questions arises: what does capital signify within Marx's philosophical framework? Despite Marx's relatively limited direct discussion of his method, dialectics, across his extensive collected works, scholars endeavor to reconstruct Marx's dialectical approach throughout his philosophy to address this question. Arthur presents a nuanced interpretation, highlighting capital as the dynamic manifestation of value, a process wherein wealth, embodied as value within the capitalist mode of production, undergoes transformation and self-reproduction, ultimately multiplying its initial quantity. Arthur's innovative perspective suggests that, according to Marx, capital shares fundamental characteristics with Hegel's notion of the idea. He introduces the concept of new dialectics to underscore this relationship. Similar to Hegel's conceptual categories in his logic, which lack a strictly empirical basis, Arthur posits that capital, in Marx's work, assumes an ideal reality. He argues that capital functions as a self-moving abstraction, akin to Hegel's idea, albeit rooted in reality, yet constituting a distinct realm. This abstraction, according to Arthur, acquires autonomy from the tangible world, suggesting a metaphysical quality inherent in the form of value. Arthur characterizes this abstract realm of capital as a spectral presence that pervades the realm of material labor, perpetuating itself and expanding through wealth accumulation. Economic transactions and exchanges become dominated by these pure forms of value, which, as Arthur describes, act as ghostly entities influencing material production. The development of value form categories unfolds as a self-resolving system of contradictions, according to Arthur. He emphasizes that understanding capital necessitates engaging with its manifestations within a framework of pure capitalism, divorced from specific historical contexts. This approach aligns with Robert Albritton and the Second School's perspective, which emphasizes dialectical development at a theoretical level to grasp the pure logic of capitalism. Arthur underscores the inherent contradictions within capital, stemming from labor's indispensable role within the capitalist system, while simultaneously being subjected to its exploitative dynamics. Labor, in Arthur's view, constitutes a potential counterforce capable of disrupting the entire system, introducing an element of openness into the dialectical process, making its trajectory unpredictable. In Arthur's interpretation, the dialectic fails to fully elucidate the content of economic categories, particularly the various forms that value assumes within social relationships. This limitation prevents the demystification of the autonomy attributed to these forms of value and capital. Although Arthur does not explicitly acknowledge this, his analysis suggests that the capitalist mode of production, in its pure form as dictated by dialectics, operates according to immutable laws regardless of historical context. This alignment with orthodox Marxism and the determinism of the Second International becomes apparent. Contrary to Arthur's approach, Marx's capital emphasizes that the forms assumed by capital, representing value in its dialectical progression, are inherently tied to the specific social relationships present at each historical stage of capitalist development. Marx's work underscores the dynamic interplay between economic categories and the social relations they embody, highlighting the contingent nature of these forms within historical contexts. Marx's perspective diverges from Arthur's by emphasizing the dialectical relationship between economic categories and social relations, rather than positing an abstract universal logic of capitalism, detached from historical specificity. Marx's analysis recognizes the fluidity and contingent nature